Things are really taking a weird turn in the aftermath of the George Zimmerman trial for the killing of Trayvon Martin, in which he was acquitted of both second-degree murder and of manslaughter. Dr. Shipping Bao is the Volusia County medical examiner who handled Trayvon Martin's body in the aftermath of the Zimmerman case, after he was, of course, shot by George Zimmerman. And he is saying that the prosecution team in the case were actually biased against Trayvon Martin and intentionally lost the case. He also says that his attorney is ready to sue the state of Florida for $100 million, according to WFTV Channel 9. Bao's attorney told WFTV that the medical examiner was wrongfully fired last week by the county. According to the former assistant coroner, his autopsy results showed that it was impossible for Trayvon Martin to have been on top of George Zimmerman when George Zimmerman shot Trayvon. By the way, it's way more than just the evidence looked at by Shipping Bao, by Dr. Bao, that shows that. Basic logic based on how George Zimmerman had his gun holstered shows that if indeed Trayvon Martin was on top of George Zimmerman the way the defense claims, it would have been almost impossible for George Zimmerman to even reach that gun. But putting all that aside, that doesn't really matter here. It's not part of the case. It's not part of the issue with the medical examiner's firing, that is. The medical examiner's office, state's attorney's office, and Sanford police were all biased against the teenager, says Bao's attorney, Willie Gary. He says their general attitude was that he got what they deserved. Gary maintains that the medical examiner was scapegoated and wrongly fired because he simply disagreed with how the investigation was conducted. Lewis, those concerns are completely valid. I understand there's no going back now, but we must not forget that no toxicology was done of George Zimmerman. We have no idea if he was drunk or on drugs at the time that he shot Trayvon Martin. The crime scene, it immediately started raining, and there was no caution taken to maintain and preserve the crime scene, and all sorts of forensic evidence may have been lost by that. Dr. Shipping Bao is completely right that this was mishandled. However, to say that the prosecution deliberately threw the case because they believed Trayvon got what he deserved, I don't know that you can ever really prove that, and I think it's going to be tough to win this lawsuit if it does happen.
That is the part that seems far-fetched. I don't know why they would do that. There's really no benefit. I mean, it's state time and money being invested here in this.
And not only that, Lewis, Angela Corey, the special prosecutor, she had a choice of people to put on the case. And I would assume that any reasonable special prosecutor is going to select not only the attorneys she believes are most qualified to prosecute the case, but those who really believe that there is a case to prosecute. That's the part I have trouble with, although I agree completely with Dr. Bao about all of his questions regarding how the case was handled. 100% agree.
Yeah, and I'm sure he knows his stuff when it comes to the evidence of the autopsy. But I mean, that is one of those areas where you could have 10 different experts and they'd each tell you something different.
No, that's true. But what we know is there was no toxicology of Zimmerman. He was allowed to go home and clean up. And that messed up a lot of the DNA and a lot of the facts. Imagine if George Zimmerman had been drunk and DNA had been properly taken from him. That would have brought this entire case in a different direction. Huge mistake by police there.